We are given a block of ads basically, sort of at the start of the season, and then we keep that, and any changes that need to be made when they bring in new adverts or ask for us to take out adverts that have passed their sell-by date or whatever, we then they send down just those changes and we make them and send back the paperwork. Splicer, without which this is one of the most useful tools of the projectionist's art, the film splicer with the sellotape. They used to have, just before I started, they tended to use cement splicers, where basically you had to file off a bit on that film, file off another bit on that film so that it would overlap, and apply this film cement, which is basically a thin glue, and then rub it together and rub it very hard and hold it down and hope against hope that it wouldn't break, because a lot of the time...
long-winded?
Well, it was long-winded and it was quite flimsy, because a lot of the time the cement had this unfortunate property that it would melt in heat, and the projectors get quite hot, so not really a good plan there. And the other downside of it was that sometimes if you were sort of not very careful with your brush strokes, the cement would sort of spill along the frame, and you get these beautiful lurid patterns of where it was like acid basically, which was not nice. But there we go, make sure that the soundtrack is matched up to the soundtrack, because you don't want to have a twist in your film. Then just join the sellotape. Well, I say sellotape, it's actually officially called splicing tape, because it's much clearer. There are these worrying stories, as I say. I mean, some people tell you, oh yes, the spool can fly off and bisect you, and you can get radiation burns from the xenon lamp in the projection. You can damage your retina if you stare directly at it. Because there are three elements basically. You've got the machinery, which can fail, you've got the film, which can break, and you've got the projectionist, who can cock up basically. Old-time projectionists would oil the projectors quite copiously on the last show of any day, simply so that the film would run faster and they would get out to the pub quicker. And one of my ex-colleagues allegedly left out a reel from Murder on the Orient Express, and when challenged about it said, well, it's all talk anyway, because he wanted to get out early and therefore just missed out a reel. Sod the customs. This is the fun part, which is shifting film from plate to plate, because I need to break that one down, but it's on the wrong plate, so I have to move it, which involves heavy lifting. Now, this is quite a light film, so it's only probably about 20-25 kilos. But basically, it slides out like this. You do not drop it, you do not lift it with, well, you can lift it with the arms if it's a small enough film, but there's always the good chance that the middle drops out and then you have film up to your ankles, if not your knees, depending. So it's always safer something nice and solid to brace it on, such as a kneecap. And then, just slide it back. That's not too tricky in terms of just shifting one to the other, but at the old cinema we sometimes had to transfer films from one projection box to the other, which involved doing that, then carrying it sideways, sort of tucked under the arm almost, and going up 60 steps and through a foyer, and it was fun, especially if there was a full house coming in at the time. There you go, that's your lamp house. That is a xenon lamp, which is, this one's 1600 watts. They can go up to about 3000 watts for the bigger cinemas, the multiplexes, where you've got like a 100-foot throw or whatever. This is only about 60 foot here. Very sensitive lamps. You're not even supposed to touch them with your hands in case your fingerprints basically imprint on the glass. And this here is called the dowser, which basically controls the light into the projector. So it's basically just a metal door, and then in there is the shutter mechanism, and that is spinning round at great speed, and that's what cuts the film off every time. Yeah, you're actually issued with all the safety gear for this. You've got heavy gauntlets, you've got a plastic face mask, you've got a Kevlar suit to protect from the neck. Different still picture, and it's just what they call persistence of vision, which is a trick, an illusion in the eye basically, that it moves at such a speed. I mean, in the projector it goes through at 24 frames per second, so 24 frames is, say, about that much. So that goes through the machine in 1 second, that length.
Wow.
And in that time, it doesn't go just pull straight through like, say, a videotape or whatever. It actually stops and starts. So basically it's held sort of steady in the projector's gate for a very, very brief time, during which the light shines through it, puts it onto the screen, and then it turns and there's a brief moment of darkness, and then the next frame is down, and so on and so forth. It's all very, very fast. And because it's so fast,
we probably can't see it
the
with our
eye
eyes,
doesn't
no.
recognise that in a 2-hour film it's sitting there watching an hour of darkness, which is a nice con, I suppose, but it's all illusion, which is one way of looking at
Cinema.
cinema.